Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. Are y'all ready for another word study? I am. So let's go ahead and begin. The title of today's message is "The 10 and the whole hang off the 2." And it is regarding Yah's commandments. So I'm going to go ahead and take you to my notes. Okay, and we're going to begin reading. Some say we should only keep 2 commandments, and some say it's only 10. Some in religion say we should keep the 10, but do away with the 4th commandment. Many do away with the whole. So which commandments should we keep? And before we keep going, brothers and sisters, if you like the content, if you're new here, please, subscribe, and feel free to share the videos if you feel led. But also, most importantly, everything I share on this channel, please take it to the Father in prayer. Okay? So we begin with Matthew 22:34. But the Pharisees, having heard that he had silenced the Sadducees, were gathered together. He meaning Yeshua. Okay? And one of them, one learned in the Torah, did question, trying him, like he was testing Yeshua, and saying, "Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah?" And he's talking about the greatest commandment. And Yeshua said to him, "You shall love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your mind." And when he quoted that, he was referring to the Shema, okay? And that is the first and greatest commandment of the Torah, okay? This is the first and great command, okay? And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commands hang all the Torah and the prophets. Okay? And before we get into the next paragraph here, I just wanted to let everyone know that I don't know if I'm going to split this video up into parts. Maybe a 1 and 2, or just go all the way through. It just depends on how much time, we spend here on this teaching. So just wanted to let you know ahead of time. So anyway, these are the 2 broad categories of commandments. Okay? The first is to love Yah, and the second is to love people. And just so you know, in case you didn't know, that in the 10 commandments, the first 4 of the commandments is to love Yah. Okay? And the last 6 commandments is to love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? So these are the 2 broad categories of the 2 greatest commandments. Okay? And the first and the greatest commandment is what Yeshua quoted here. You shall love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your mind. Okay? This is the first and great command. And the second is like it. You love your neighbor as yourself. That's what it means by, there's 2 broad categories, because you'll see. They're all bunched up, okay, into those 2. So those in religion say that all they need are the 2 commandments. But yet they define what love means when they look no further and they throw away the rest of the Torah. All of the Torah commands fit into these 2 broad categories. And Messiah Yeshua was quoting Deuteronomy 6:5 and Leviticus 19:18. Okay, so let's read Deuteronomy, which is Devarim, chapter 6, verse 5. And you shall love Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. Okay, then it says in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 8, it says, do not take vengeance or bear a grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yah. And Exodus 20 gives us the 10 commandments. The first 4, again, is to love Yah, and the last 6 is to love people. These define the 2 greatest. All right, are you with me, everyone? And we're going to go ahead and read, just as a refresher, these commandments, the 10 commandments, okay? And number 1 is, you have no other mighty ones against my face. In other words, do not have any other gods, above, or where it says here, against my face. You shall have no other gods before me is what most of the Bible versions state. And that means you serve Yah alone, okay? And that includes, and it's not just talking about Buddha or the Hindu god or any of that. It's talking about any god. Can mean, even earthly possessions like money, okay, your job, even putting your family above Yah. That's idolatry right there. So, that's what it means. Number 2, you do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them. For I, Yah, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. And I've highlighted some of these notes. I have notes to the side of the commandments. I highlighted quite a few words and throughout the whole transcript. But that way you get an understanding. But that includes not, any kind of carved image like crosses or crucifixes, statues of Yeshua. And there's a lot of images out there of, especially in Catholicism, there's statues all over the church, and they have images of Jesus, and people go in there and they even kiss the feet of these statues. And, that is, Yah does not want any of his people to have any of these images, statues, crosses, crucifixes, even of the dead saints. There's all kinds of saints in there. I mean, that's an abomination to him, because he tells you right here that he is a jealous El, and, he doesn't want you to have any kind of idolatry, because this is what this is, brothers and sisters. And so, and even, I believe, the Jewish people do not, they don't have images, okay, of any. I don't think they made any images of the apostles or Yeshua. That was a no-no. This is mostly, I believe, in Christianity. Okay, so no carved images from, above or beneath or the sea or any of that. Okay, I took down my crosses. It took me a while, but I took them all down when, I started realizing that this went against the commandments. Okay, that was the second commandment. The third is, you do not bring the name of Yah, your Elohim, to naught. For Yah does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. That means you do not diminish the name of Yah. Okay? Because when you do that, you are, especially like for some pastors or most pastors, that are making a profit out of the people, Yah's people, and they're using his name to profit off, of everyone, and that's that, or it could be something else, for your gain or to feed your own belly. I mean, you don't bring the name of Yah to nothing, because he says right here that he's not going to leave that person unpunished who does this. Okay, the fourth commandment, we should all know that one. Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. 6 days you labor, and you shall do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. That means if you have, someone over, someone visiting, you're not going to make that person work. That means, if you called someone to come out and cut your grass on a Sabbath, you're resting, but but you hired someone to come and work. That's the stranger who is within your gates. You do not make anybody work either. You don't work, but you don't make anyone else work either. Okay? So that's why you should not even be going out. Let's say, you want to go out to eat. Some people may not see anything wrong with it, and you're thinking in your mind, well, that person has to work anyway. I didn't pick their schedule. Well, no, but they're still attending to you. They're still serving you, and they're working to serve you food. So, do you understand what I'm saying? You're making the stranger that's within your gates, even though it's not your gates, but you're still making that person work. Okay? You don't make anyone work on that day. And as well as you're not supposed to even be cooking on that day, because you're supposed to already have everything ready the day before. So let's go ahead and keep going. For in 6 days Yah made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Yah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. And you're going to hear people, especially the ones in Christianity, say, well, Jesus is my Sabbath. You know, they don't keep the day set apart. Or, you know, the Lord is my Sabbath now. You know, so did Jesus die in vain so that we can break the commandments? Did Jesus keep the Sabbath so we don't have to? Did Jesus not steal so we can steal, etc.? So we set apart the seventh day Sabbath. Okay? He didn't come to die in vain so that we could keep breaking Yah's laws and commandments. Okay? Number 5. It says, and some Bibles will probably say, honor your father and mother. Okay? This one says, respect your father and mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil or the land which Yah, your Elohim, is giving you. And this right here is the first commandment with promise. Okay? 6, you do not murder. 7, you do not commit adultery. 8, you do not steal. Going back to this, number 5, I'm sorry, but I was just thinking, you know, some people have said, well, what if, you know, my parents are not saved and, you know, they're living in sin and they ask me to do something that I know it goes against my faith. Well, brothers and sisters, all I can say is, I mean, you don't have to be ugly about it, but you need to set your foot down and you need to make sure you let your parents know, whomever it is, that, you know, that it goes against your faith, what they're asking you to do. Always remember that Yah comes first, okay? And you're not going to go sin because they're your father and your mother. So, you know, you just have to know and discern what's right from wrong. And you should already know what's right from wrong as a believer. But if there's something that goes against your faith and you know that it's wrong, then you need to let them know. All right? Because you're going to be held accountable, just like those that say, well, my pastor told me it was okay. Same thing. All right? But you can still honor your father and your mother and be respectful about it. Okay? All right, number 9. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. That means you don't lie on your neighbor. You don't, you know, or in court, you lie for your greedy gain. Okay? So, you don't do that, okay? Because liars do not get into the kingdom, okay? All right, number 10. You do not covet your neighbor's house. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. That means do not desire to possess whatever belongs to your neighbor. And I'm gonna confess that there's a little dog that comes and visits us from our neighbor's house. Okay, and you know they always let him come over and, you know, have fun with our dog, because we used to have 2 dogs, and it was the little Pomeranian that we used to have. He passed away back in October, and so, you know, our dog, our Chow Chow, he doesn't really have anyone to play with. And I mean, he's good though, by himself. But the neighbor's dog just loves coming over. The thing is, when it's time for him to go home, and the neighbors want him to go back home, he doesn't want to leave, and so it makes me feel bad. And and he just gives you those puppy dog eyes, that look, and it just it kills me, because I'm thinking, well, why doesn't he want to go back home? I think that if he were happy to go back home, and he was just happy-go-lucky, wagging his tail, I think I'd be okay with it. I wouldn't desire. It's not that I have a desire like I gotta have that dog. No, it's more like I feel sorry for him. But it came to my mind, that about coveting, and I don't want to covet anyone's dog or anything that belongs to my neighbor. So I'm just going to leave that in y'all's hands, but I'm just sharing that with you as an example. So maybe you may not see any harm in something like that, but I just want to make sure that, I don't fall into that sin. So anyway, all right, let's move on. In the following verses, Yeshua quotes 5 of the 10 commandments, and to, quote, love your neighbor as yourself, which is not in the 10, but is a Torah commandment. Okay, this is in Leviticus 19, verse 18. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and read Matthew 19, verses 16 through 17. All right, and you're going to see that Yeshua quotes 5 out of the 10 commandments and 1 of the Torah commandments. Okay, see if you see it when I'm reading this. All right, it says, and see, one came and said to him, good teacher, what good shall I do to have everlasting life? And he, being Yeshua, said to him, why do you call me good? No one is good except one, Elohim, Yah. I put that in there so Elohim is Yah, okay? But if you wish to enter into life, guard the commands. Now that's very important right there, because this right here tells us that if we want to inherit eternal life, it says guard the commands. All right? That's a good verse right here to quote to somebody that believes that the commandments are done away with. All right, 18 says, he said to him, which? And Yeshua said, you shall not murder. That's 1. You shall not commit adultery. 2, you shall not steal. 3, you shall not bear false witness. 4, respect your father and your mother. 5, there's 5, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is not in the 10 commandments, brothers and sisters, okay? This is a Torah commandment, and this is the second behind Elohim. Remember, we just read the greatest of the 2 commandments. The first one is to love Yah with all your heart, mind, and soul, right? The second is like it. It's this one. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. That is a Torah commandment. So Yeshua here is not saying there's just 2 commandments. Okay, like most people say, oh, well, we only have to follow 2 commandments. No. He's not just, saying that there's just 2 commandments. Neither is he saying to just obey the 10. What he is really saying is to obey the whole Torah. Okay, that's why he said that. He quoted this. Okay? he gave some of the commandments that define the two. Love Yah and love people. Okay? Which totals all the Torah. So, love Yah and love people. He gave him that. The young man said to him, all these I have watched over from my youth. What do I still lack? Yeshua said to him, if you wish to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor. And you shall have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. Now, when he says follow me, this means to follow Yeshua and his Torah lifestyle. You know, when he says, no, never mind. I was thinking of something else. Okay, so that's what it means. It doesn't mean just walk behind him, twiddling your thumbs and that's it. No, it means when he says to follow me, that means imitate me. You follow me in my Torah lifestyle, because that is, what he taught, and that is what he lived. And I mean, he was Jewish, our Messiah. So, just wanted to address that. 22, and when the young man heard the word, he went away sad, because he had many possessions. And Yeshua said to his taught ones, or his disciples, truly, I say to you that it is hard for a rich man to enter into the reign of the heavens. And again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel, or I think also, I have it right here, it could be a rope, to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the reign of Elohim. So right here I put, there was a note in, beside that verse, and it says Aramaic Gamla, Gamla, which is camel or rope. Excuse me. Yeshua knew the wealthy man put his material possessions above Elohim. He started with all the love people commandments of the 10. And then the Torah commandment of the total, or of the whole. Okay? Which is Torah. But when the man affirmed that he had not done all these and asked, what do I still lack? Yeshua knew the man couldn't keep the first and greatest commandment, which is to love Yah, because the root of the problem was that the man had a great love for wealth. So Yeshua knew that this man did not love Yah. He wasn't able to keep all of the commandments. He was only keeping certain ones, but he couldn't keep the love Yah commandments because he had great wealth. You understand? And so Yeshua knew this. That's why he walked away sad. So that's interesting, that's why he quoted those certain commandments, to him, because he knew already. And Yeshua said, follow me. Again, this means to follow him and imitate his Torah lifestyle. You mean there was a purpose why they were following him, right? All right. It says, we have now learned that it takes obedience to not just the 2 commandments, not just the 10 commandments, but obedience to the whole Torah. The only way to do this is to put our faith in Messiah Yeshua, who was the embodiment of Torah. He was the embodiment of the Torah. And then we receive the indwelling set-apart spirit. Okay, this is how we are able to walk or live in truth and in righteousness, and this is how we receive eternal life. Okay, so that's what I've gathered, and I hope you understand. This is why Yeshua quoted what he did, was because it takes not just obedience to 2 commandments, not just obedience to 10, but the whole Torah. Okay, that's why he quoted that one Torah commandment and 5 of the 10. All right, and they all fall under the 2. All right, Matthew 5, verses 17 through 19, and this is one of my favorites right here to quote. Let's go ahead and read it. It says, do not think that I came to destroy or abolish the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete. And to complete means, it doesn't mean to abolish. And people will tell you, well, no, it doesn't mean to abolish. But he came to complete it, in other words, and then do away with it so that we don't have to obey because he did it for us. No, that's not what it means. It means to fill it full. Okay? Or to magnify. He came to preach the Torah on how to live, your life in righteousness. That's why he came for the sinners. Because they weren't living in righteousness. Righteousness is to be obedient to Yah's will, which is his Torah, brothers and sisters. All right? So, let's keep reading. It says, for truly I say to you, till the heaven and the earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah till all be done. Not everything has been fulfilled. Okay? And the heaven and earth are witnesses. They're witnesses still in existence. Okay? So, and this means it's never going to go away. Yes, we're going to have a new heaven and a new earth. But it's never going away. That means his Torah is forever. It's everlasting and it's truth. And you will find that in Psalms 119, 142. Okay? 19. Whoever then breaks one of these least, or one of the least of these commands, which is the Torah, and teaches men so, shall be called least in the reign of the heavens. But whoever does and teaches them, he shall be called great in the reign of the heavens. Okay? So, anyone that's teaching that the commandments are done away with, they're in trouble. Okay? It says, do you want to be least in the reign of the heavens? You need to find out what that means, brothers and sisters. What's below? Below the earth. Is that one of the heavens? You need to find out. Or do we want to be called great in the reign of the heavens? Alright, so here are some 2 more examples, okay? One of the 10 is Matthew 5:27. It says, you heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. That's one of the 10. You shall not commit adultery, right? And that is, so you can see it, it's commandment number 7. You shall not commit adultery. Okay? And then The next one is a Torah commandment. Matthew 5, verse 31. And it has been said, whoever puts away his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. This is not in the 10. This is a Torah commandment. Okay? All right. So as far as those that say, okay, this is let me see what time we're at. I don't even know when I started. Hang on, everyone. All right, brothers and sisters. I think I'm going to make this into 2 parts. Okay. That way, it doesn't seem so overwhelming. I mean, you can always stop the video and come back. But for some reason, I think when people see, oh my gosh, it's like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, I don't know. I think they just don't want to, watch the video because their attention span, isn't long. It's not long enough to want to stay and watch a long video. I understand. But I think it's easier whenever I can, I will do this and I will split it into parts. But sometimes I just keep going because, I don't want to stop. But I'll go ahead and stop it now and then go ahead and join in for part 2. And I'll see you then.